So when Disney Plus came out, I was super excited, and the first film I watched was The Black Cauldron. This was a film I watched as a kid, and no one has ever really seen it apart from me. I had it on VHS, and I always remember enjoying it, but like most films you haven't seen in 15 years, it's always fun to know if the film is actually good, or are you just easily entertained by anything? Hello, it's me, the Average Critic, and let's talk about The Black Cauldron, Disney's weirdest movie. The Black Cauldron is one of Disney's most weirdest films. Everything from the style, music, characters, the lack of musical songs. It wraps itself up in a nice little bow for things that definitely do work, but unfortunately, there are things that definitely don't. If you are watching this video, I can only imagine you are one of the select few that actually know about this film, because I have never met anyone that has ever seen it. The Black Cauldron, for those that don't know, is based on the series of books of the same name, and is about an assistant pig keeper called Taran. He looks after a pig which basically has insight powers, and gets thrusted into an adventure against a terrifying villain known only as the Horned King. It's Lord of the Rings with a sprinkle of Disney. It was also the first Disney film to get a PG rating, as well as using CGI for some of its scenes. And that PG rating is definitely needed because, yeah, this film is dark. Now, you all know me, I am no stranger to a dark Disney film. In fact, I kinda welcome it. But from the story, characters, and just general colour, this film goes incredibly dark. It definitely feels the most unique for this reason, as it came out just after The Fox and the Hound and just before The Great Mouse Detective. The 80s was definitely the rebel phase in society, and that is very much reflected in Disney. All the big films from Disney that came out before this were films like Robin Hood, The Jungle Book, Cinderella. They had a bright and more lighter tone. The Black Cauldron comes out of nowhere, and I can see why this film wasn't met with good reviews when it came out, as it really doesn't feel like a Disney film when you look at the collection of movies they have. The animation, as I said, is very dark. There generally isn't much colour in this film, which can be quite off-putting, but you can understand why given its story. But it's almost like the film looks a lot older than it is. It might be due to the fact that it is set during the Middle Ages, but there is more of a classic Disney feel to this film. I almost didn't expect this film to be so modern. Am I showing my age there by saying the 80s is modern?
Holy fuck! I'm getting old!
I haven't read any of the books, so obviously I don't know if the characters are done any differently, but the characters in this film feel fine. Taran is the classic boy who wants to be a hero. Princess Alonwe doesn't have much time to shine, but is an enjoyable character. Fleur offers some of the funniest lines for me, but doesn't add much to the story. And then Gurgi is the character who I absolutely loved as a child, but now returning as an adult, realize he isn't really as funny as I remember. Although it does bring back some fond memories watching him. He was always an incredible funny character. It is also no surprise that Gurgi is based off of Gollum from Lord of the Rings, as he is just the more lighted version of this character. Gurgi probably goes through the most character development that is the most interesting for me, but you must also look past the fact that he is also there for being the comedy relief. One thing I do like about this film is its themes on bravery. Taran wants to be brave and needs to learn what it's like to be a true hero. Gurgi learning to be brave for his friends. Even Fleur, who has a harp which breaks every single time he lies, is a wonderful way of showing he never stands up for himself. I certainly didn't notice this when I was a child, but I love these little moments now. Characters are quite basic, but there are sprinkles of goodness buried deep within, and perhaps if this film was given more time to develop, it would have been a lot better. There is even an unrecognizable performance from John Hurt as the Horned King, who is easily one of Disney's scariest villains. There are also some questionable performances in this film. Taran has some very cringe-worthy lines of dialogue, but for the most part, the cast and voice acting, they are good. The score for this film once again reflects the period, as once again it doesn't sound like your stereotypical Disney film. Elmer Bernstein did a very good job at scoring this movie, and while this film is very out of place for a Disney film, for an adventure movie set in the Middle Ages, it feels very much at home. The score has a fun sense of adventure, and it has sprinkles of darkness within, and I am here for it. Its lack of musical songs in this film is of course welcoming, and for the style of the movie, I can see why this film obviously isn't a musical, so the score is definitely one of the best things about this movie. This film feels very much more like a Don Bluth film, who was responsible for giving us films such as The Land Before Time and An American Tail. This film bombed massively at the box office, and it didn't even release for home video until 1998. The Black Cauldron suffers a lot from being compared to its predecessors, and like today, we see the next Disney film and we just want it to be perfect. whereas when you look back on Disney, they have had unsuccessful movies. The Black Cauldron does have a strong cult following for those that have seen it, and while it does have a lot of issues, I do think if this film didn't have any ties to Disney, it might have been perceived a little bit better. The Black Cauldron doesn't hold up to how it was when I was a kid. It's got some cringeworthy dialogue, Gurgi isn't as funny as he was, and its very dark tone is a lot to take on. But I appreciate how different this film is trying to be. It has a way more serious tone. There is even scenes that were deleted because on screening, producers thought that the film was going to be too dark in some places, and they didn't want to alienate children from this film. The Black Cauldron must be one of Disney's most forgotten movies. It wasn't until I watched Once Upon a Studio and noticed the characters in that short that this film kinda came back onto my radar. I knew I really wanted to talk about this film. While The Black Cauldron isn't the most impressive film by any means, I must applaud the film for being quite unique and different. It tried and failed, but at least it tried. A lot of audiences are thinking Disney movies are becoming quite predictable with its story and characters, and while I don't agree fully on that statement, there is some truth to it. Modern day Disney movies can certainly learn from The Black Cauldron for its darker tone and different style of story. So after all that, it gets my professional rating of 6 out of 10, and my personal rating of 5 out of 10. It's a short movie as well, so if you feel like watching this film, give it a try. I know there are people who definitely enjoy this film, and it certainly is very much appreciated, even though it is kind of seen as the black sheep of the Disney films. So thank you for joining me in this very special video. Let me know in the comment section if you have seen The Black Cauldron and what are your thoughts on it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that thumbs up button for more great content, and make sure you are subscribed, as I see most of my people who watch my channel are not subscribed, so please make sure you are hitting that subscribe button, guys. We are growing this channel every single day and it's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.